Hello and welcome to the Badlands drone blog. It is cheese builds like these that really make me enjoy being in the Empire clan. We have these very dark-minded, smart geniuses in the clan who come up with creative bullshit like this that actually wins games. So thank you very much, TheCoolGamer. It's his idea. I just made the build order to make it work. And that is why we all love the Empire clan, isn't it? So you want to have a UEF ACU and you want to spawn on the center slot. And I think there will be applications for this strategy outside Badlands, but Badlands is probably the perfect map for this because of this plateau and because of how important this plateau is. And when your ACU spawns, you want to upgrade the drone upgrade. You find that on the back slot over here. And it's important that you go drone first, so no power generator before the drone, no mass destructor factory, whatever, just go drone. And you're going to have quite low power in the bank, which is why after the drone you build one power generator. And the rest of the build order is very similar to dual land, no hydro opening. So you go for a land factory, 2 power generators, except one of those power generators was constructed earlier due to the drone, then 2 mass extractors, 1 more power generator, 2 mass extractors, and that's it. You skip the last 2 power generators and the extra factory. What is this drone going to do? Well, it's called drone block for a reason. And people are trying to move their ACU here and use the build range, that orange circle of the ACU, to cliff build a factory on top of here. And the drone is building wall segments to prevent exactly that. So you can see I can't place factories here anymore. And the drone is so fast that it's going to outspeed regular ACU moves that try to cliff build factories here. So if anything should go wrong, you would build a point defense on top of here, and that can just take out the factory that is under construction. But wall segments are the cheapest, and if you time it correctly, then they get the job done as well. What could happen if the enemy flank player realizes that they can't build the factory over here? Well, 2 things. Either the enemy player is going to, well, go here and build a factory here. In that case, you just build wall segments there as well, or you assist the factory of your ally that is already building tanks and ready to destroy this factory. Or the enemy flank player is going to play less plateau-centric. How to play less plateau-centric? Well, either by building up a ground force and perhaps a combat ACU that is going to destroy the base on the ground of their opponent, and with this base gone, it's very unlikely that this plateau alone can win the game. Like, I managed to make it work sometimes to win a game with just the plateau and everything else lost, but it is very unlikely and people would have to play very plateau-centric to make it work. And most people like to have the plateau but don't play extremely plateau-centric. So such a ground push is sort of motivated and it can work out quite well. And playing less plateau-centric can also work by just dropping perhaps an ACU on the plateau in the mid-game. And that means you are less plateau-centric in the early game, but then you switch and make sure you get this plateau to make the TML on top of here, or the T2 stationary RT, or the T3 mobile RT that is going to destroy the base over here. So this is how the enemy flank player will react. And for this exact reason, we went first tank, second scout on the land factory here. This delayed the hydro a little bit, but imagine what would happen. Enemy ACU is trying to cliff build and can't, is starting to retreat, but by the time this ACU is moving up, the tank is already destroying some hydro engineers, some expanding engineers, and so on. So I'd say this is a solid 30% chance that your opponent is going to rage quit right away at this point at minute 4. So quite important to have this. And the third unit the factory builds is going to be a T1 engineer. And pretty much after this first tank and the scout, it's only going to make engineers until tanks are needed. The first 2 engineers from this factory are going to construct this hydro, and the ACU is going to build these 2 mass extractors after it finished the stuff in the core. And then the ACU and the engineers together build this hydro, 1 more power generator, air factory, extra power generators. Why do we build this 1 more power generator before the air factory when we have 3 power generators in hydro and that's enough for assisted second air? Well, because we are assisting the second air very heavily with like up to 2 engineers and the ACU at the same time, and that's why we need this extra power generator to not power stall. And these 3 power generators, well, this is just some regular power spam added later. It can be built by the ACU if the ACU is not needed in the field, but chances are the ACU is probably going to be needed in the field, joining up there, and just the engineers are building more power. Why do we need so much power? Well, if we expect a gun and nano push, then we have to get gun and nano too. This radar on the cliff is difficult to kill. Maybe Arty can hit it, bombers can certainly hit it, but well, even bombers might miss and hit the cliff instead, and tanks will surely not hit it. So this is a good radar position. You can cliff build it by sending an engineer here, and you're just going to reuse the engineer that has been building this massing structure to also build the radar. And after it's done, it should of course move and reclaim, or like build something else, perhaps a wall, something like that. 2 engineers from this early factory, 2 early engineers, maybe the 3rd and the 4th engineer, maybe the 4th and the 5th engineer are going to go here and reclaim. Try to be a little flexible about it, check out how much you're spending and whether you're going to need this. But this is of course a good reclaim field with many rocks and tree groups, giving you power and trees at a slow but constant rate. And in the end, you're just going to add some extra factories with a couple of engineers, 2 in this case. And then you would upgrade your ACU to gun and nano, and you can support your flank player in the ground war. This pretty much secures the plateau, at best locks 1 player out of the game, and you will be able to hold any push that comes from here, unless you like really over eco. This assisted air can make bombers as soon as air control is guaranteed, but of course it should be priority to shoot on transports that try to get this plateau. And lastly, note that the ACU has a backpack when you upgrade drone. If people know that you went drone, then they will probably assume that this backpack is going to be drone. But if you replace this backpack for the TAC pack, like the tactic missile launcher backpack, which is another ACU upgrade that fires tactic missiles at the enemy massing structures, factories, power generators, ACUs, then they are not going to realize this is TAC pack until you fire the first missile. So perhaps in the mid game you can replace this drone pack by the TAC pack and get a surprise hit of 6,000 damage, which on Badlands can be a kill. So I hope people enjoyed this. Thanks again, TheCoolGamer, for the idea, and I'm looking forward to see this applied by some people. Good luck, have fun.